Welcome to the MP Motorsport podcast. I'm Gaëtan from Plankgas podcast, together with my colleagues from the same podcast.
Robin.
And Thomas.
Yeah, and I'll let you do the introduction.
Yes, we're here with Sander Dorsman. He's known as the team principal of MP Motorsport. But in your free time, besides like running an entire team of motorsport racers and everything to do around it, what do you do if you have any free time?
At the moment, actually, welcome in our workshop.
Thank you.
Yeah, at the moment we have a lot of free time basically.
Yeah,
so a bit more than we're used to. So what are we doing? I guess a bit like everybody does in these strange times, but still, I guess all the free time we have now. Yeah, we have to suffer a bit, I guess, at the second half year, because probably then we are non-stop on track, no free time at all. So yeah, at the moment, we try to do some nice things with the family, etc., with some friends. Although, it's limited, strange time at the moment, so it's all a bit limited, isn't it? But,
So now you say you have a lot of free time. You see your family more than usual now, or?
No. Yeah, it's let's say I think for everybody in motorsports, it's a bit weird that you're at home each and every weekend, basically. I mean, if we are racing, then we see the family during the week or whatever.
So the downtime from the family is now actually just full-time family now.
Not
full-time.
Full-time, but I mean, I think the luxury here, compared perhaps to some other countries, is that we don't have a full lockdown.
Yeah.
So all the past weeks we are still operational in the workshop. We could still but now we have a 9-to-5 job actually, which is not really common in motorsport. No complaints, because it's also nice for a change, I guess.
Of course.
So
it's not constantly running around from country to country, I presume.
Yeah, although I think everybody here in the team, and if you speak to other teams, then everybody is missing the traveling a bit as well. And it's also, I think everybody's also looking forward to get the season started, isn't it?
Yeah, it's part of the lifestyle, I guess. Just constantly going from circuit to circuit and seeing different places.
Yeah. Although most different places will mean like workshop, airport, track,
workshop,
and
airport.
The way back.
Of course,
but still, I mean, it's a bit weird, because we just came from a winter off season, which is normally you spend a lot of time in the workshop with all the engineers and mechanic to get prepared for the first test and the first race, and then basically we were heading towards that first test. Actually, we in all the categories we had a first test, and then there was like a hard shortcut, like okay, stop.
All the cars were at the track actually, and then everyone's like, no, you gotta go home because this is not okay.
Exactly. So that was a bit weird, obviously, and then then you realize I think everybody also mentally worked towards a point. Let's say now the season is going to start, and suddenly that spot on the horizon disappeared, which is just weird, isn't it? But
is it harder now to keep the team motivated now that there's no more racing, or are people still motivated to work and to do a different season than normal?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the funny thing of this period is perhaps everybody also enjoys a bit some extra time off. Of course, let's put that in place first. But then I think it's really weird because I think that's in each and every sport, and mainly for in this case the drivers. It's like you prepare yourself for a start of a season, and suddenly that all disappears, and you sit at home. That's the same for everybody, but for an athlete, you need some new motivation, I think, to keep yourself sharp. So then I think it's good. Now in all the media, etc., you see some new calendars coming up. So at least that gives them a spot at the horizon, some light at the end of the tunnel and that, I think that gives some fresh motivation.
But those calendars are currently still speculation, just right? Because there's nothing really set in stone at the moment. We've heard about double Silverstone, maybe starting in July, but there's nothing really for sure right now, so I don't know.
No, true. To be honest, I think all the organizers, they keep us really well updated. We get regular
really
updates, although with them we have the agreement that that stays strictly in like an internal matter.
Obviously,
of course.
Not to be announced, but I think everybody reads all the different calendars on the internet. So
there's been a few already.
There's been enough.
Because it's constantly moving. It's constantly moving the goalposts. All right, maybe we can start in June, start in Azerbaijan for Formula 1 in this case. But then they say, oh no, that's not going to happen. So
and
everything changes again.
I think it's also quite difficult. I mean, what is the best approach in this, isn't it? It's like, okay, guys, let's wait and see, and till then we are not going to announce any provisional calendar or whatever. We go completely quiet. Or are you announcing each time an updated calendar? What is the right way?
I think that's very difficult to do.
And also I think people, at least they are eager to know something, isn't it?
Exactly.
And even if you say, look, we are not going to announce anything, then still people start to brainstorm like,
what is possible, what could happen.
What circuit can they start at, what's the safest, what's the most logical.
We've been doing the same.
We've heard a lot of different things,
And also I think, for example, for a driver or for each, let's say, top sporter, I think it's quite important to have a bit that spot on the horizon.
Then we're gonna start. Exactly.
Even if in the end that's postponed again or something like that, still I think it's an important thing.
And like the reasons for canceling or not canceling a circuit, is this discussed with the teams? Like, do they do like the FIA or any other organization come to the teams to ask, do you guys feel okay racing here or there, or is this decision made by?
They decide. I mean, they have all the information required, and I mean, I guess I'm not involved in that. That it's of course quite a difficult puzzle, isn't it? You have the organization, promoters, circuit, government, etc.
And health,
So you can only imagine it must be a hell of a job to
make all the pieces
fall calendar, etc. And especially now, because you see, look only in Europe, I think there's not a country with a similar approach of these kind of things, so which makes it even more complicated. So so I think on that, I think most teams were quite relaxed about it. Like, now we need to step back, let them do the job, and once they have a calendar, they will tell us, and they will make that announcement in the media, isn't it? And till then,
we'll keep working.
Until then.
Until it happens.
Another question, like, you have a lot of time now. Does that time mean you can work longer on the car, or are you not allowed to work on the car?
Yeah, we are allowed to work on the car. Ironically, we were out for a test in Bahrain with our F2 and F3 teams, but the cars are still not back. So, so we had a lot of time, but we had no cars.
No.
Is it just because there's no way to ship them back, or is it not allowed to ship them back?
It was allowed. Normally, the plan was before the test, everything was transported by plane to Bahrain. Then we had the test, which happened actually, and then we left all our stuff in the pit boxes to come back for the race. But that didn't happen.
No.
So we had to pack it up, and then the original plan was to fly it back by plane, but they had to change that into ship it back by boat. Actually, that takes weeks.
But you're here now, or
no? Still not. So it's actually I think in 1.5 weeks.
So they're still in transit.
Still in transit. It comes back to the UK, and then it comes back here.
Wow.
So it's not a big drama. I think we have the luxury. We also have the Formula Renault team, the F4 team. We had a GT3 car, which we got back from Dubai. So we have a 2-seater.
Exactly.
We built a second one, etc. So all those kind of things still kept us busy, actually. And apart from that, I mean, I think the workshop's never that clean before. We repainted everything, etc. So it also gives some time to do some stuff. Like in a normal situation, you'd never have time for that. Exactly. We rebuilt some offices and this and that, and it just keeps you busy.
Record a podcast.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, because otherwise, I guess where would it be? I think we would be in Barcelona or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That would be okay for me.
Also fine. Yeah. But,
recording a podcast in Barcelona, I'd do it. I do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, but maybe people have heard in the background the engine that you heard. That was the Formula 4 car right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe to come back to the two-seater, that's like a new project you're starting with MP Motorsport now.
Yeah, actually we started it last year already, and basically the idea was we still had a couple of A1 GP cars. And we thought, okay, well, what can we do with that? And we thought, perhaps it's a nice idea to start making our own two-seater car to give a cool experience to sponsors, partners, or whoever. So we started that project, and the main thing, of course, is like, okay, how do you make from two chassis one and a half, basically? So we did that at a company in UK because that needs to be done properly, etc. In order that it's safe and well structured. So last year we built the first one. We did Tom Coronel. He did a shakedown during the Gamma Racing Day in Assen, quite well known event with 100,000 plus spectators.
Oh, wow.
So he gave some VIPs a cool ride and some other prize winners on track. So that was really nice, and everybody was so enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, because I think it's quite a unique car, right?
Absolutely.
How many of those would there be in the world? More than 10?
Now 2.
Yeah, well,
at
least 2.
Yeah, now because
two.
we just built the second one. But I think what is really nice is it's the engine, which is Zytek, nowadays known as the Gibson engine, which was used in A1 GP, AutoGP, World Series by Renault. And nowadays it's more or less the same engine which is used in the LMP2. There's also one spec engine from Gibson. But it's like a really noisy one, and people love it. So basically we are sort of doing a demo run for the spectators around the track and a two-seater run in one go, basically. So we had so many enthusiastic reactions on it, so we decided to build a second one, so we can build some nice events around it, or go to some big events where they ask us to go.
Yeah.
Have you driven it yourself or being passenger?
No, because actually we had only one, and with that one, like I said, we did the sort of shakedown thing during the Gamma Racing Day last year by Tom Coronel, and we only planned to do 4 runs, I think, and they were booked. So perfect. And then after that, we did one event on the circuit of Zolder, actually.
I saw that.
You're in the back garden. But it was like a corporate event. And actually, myself was somewhere. We had a race somewhere, so I wasn't even there, unfortunately. But it would be nice to. It would be a special experience. To be honest, I'm never really a big fan of sitting in the same car as a racing driver, because normally they drive like some maniac.
That's true.
So
you would rather drive it yourself than being a passenger?
Do you race?
No, I don't know. No. I mean, those years are gone.
But you did race?
No, only a bit for we did some for fun, some track days or whatever, but not
professionally.
Karting from time to time.
Actually, we have a go-kart track here 5 minutes from here, and sometimes we go with the mechanics.
To have a drive.
Go with that. Actually,
cool.
just a cart left there. So perhaps we have a look later this afternoon and have a go at it. But mechanics, etc. I think we have about 8 carts here, and sometimes some of our drivers go there to
practice a bit.
Practice a bit. It's quite a twisty circuit, actually, so it's quite heavy on the arm. So for them, it's also quite good practice. And for the mechanics, it's more, or engineers, more to have a wind
down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that might be a good leeway to my next question, because if you look at team principals, definitely in Formula 1, they have a background of racing. How did you get to this point of being a team principal? Did you study this? Did you just roll into this role, or how did you get to this point?
Yeah, more rolled into it, actually. A good friend of mine is a racing driver.
Okay.
And yeah, basically when he was racing, quite often I joined him, and there was always the classic thing like we need more money, we need more budget, etc. So then I decided to say, look, let me have a go at that. Let me try to raise some budget, etc. So we started to do that, and basically during my studies, I use all my spare time to raise budget, discuss with teams to find a good seat for him, etc. Okay. And then we reached the point where I thought, like, perhaps we have raced with so many teams, but perhaps we can do a better job ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
So that's where it started a bit, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
And then finding and retaining sponsors is then part of your job, or is this something you tell someone else to do, or?
Of course, we always try to find some team sponsors, which is not the easiest thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's for sure not my main job. My main job is more like, of course, all the teams, you always try to find the fastest driver and the best people, because in the end, to have a good result in this sport, you need a good driver and a good team.
Exactly. The chemistry between the two is very important.
And in the end, we are operating with cars that are one-make Formula cars. So in the end, it's the team that makes the decision.
The biggest difference,
isn't it, together with the driver. So I think that whole field, and then you need the budget as well to run it, isn't it? And that's field, there's some tension everywhere, obviously, and then I think all teams are trying to get the best out of that field of tension, basically. So
it's pulling and pushing
you busy quite a bit, to be honest.
That's super cool.
So do you approach drivers, or do drivers approach you?
We approach drivers, they approach us, there are managers, there are this, that. Okay. So it's everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
Scenarios are applicable, I would say.
Okay.
So what are day-to-day tasks of a team principal during like a normal race season?
It can change quite a bit because normally you have some headache files perhaps that always lands on your desk, which needs needs to be sorted. So it keeps changing, and sometimes you are busy with here and now, and sometimes you need to work on the future as well, isn't it? Like we always need to look far ahead. I mean, if perhaps a team is working on the Grand Prix of Barcelona at the moment, then perhaps in your mind you're already busy with 2 Grand Prix.
How do I get the car from there to there, and what do I need to get?
Exactly. Are we still okay on this and that? So I think ideally you always try to plan a lot ahead if possible. And of course sometimes the problem occurs like now. Okay, then it needs sorted now. The best, if you can plan a lot of things far ahead, of course that's a luxury, and which is always nice, and I think all teams always try to do that, which on logistics, I mean in our team we have Jennifer, and she's full-time working on all the logistics of all our teams, which means like hotels, flights, rental cars, etc. Which is a hell of a job as well, but also that we try for example in the winter period to book all the hotels already for the season, because especially with Formula One, it's a big job, isn't it?
And so now everything got thrown around, because everything you've booked in advance is now just a waste of effort. So
absolutely, which was quite frustrating, obviously, because you think we are well organized, and like we are organized in the winter, and then basically your next job is to undo all your work from the winter. And then you need to wait till we have some fixed calendars, isn't it? Because now it's all like
guessing.
It's guessing, isn't it? And which is perhaps guessing is nice if I don't know, if you're among some friends with a beer. And
exactly.
You start
professionally.
As
you
a
start
team.
thinking, I think the Grand Prix will or the calendar of F1 will be this. But based on a chit chat like that, it's quite difficult to book some hotels or flights or whatever, isn't it? So and especially these difficult times. I mean, let's say if race 1 is on that circuit, I mean, are we sure that we can fly there, or do we need to drive there, or how does it work?
Imagine not being. I mean, I'm just looking at all the cars here. If I would have to get these to, for example, Austria right now, I wouldn't know how. I would not know how to start.
No, it's quite it's a challenge, isn't it? And normally we know what it takes, but things might change now, isn't it? And the big question mark is: do you really want to jump in the plane now, and is that okay to do? Plus the difficulty is, okay, we have mechanics coming from Italy, from France, Spain, UK, Denmark, Finland, you name it, and they all need to go to that one place. And is that? And
they need to get there safely as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so what is the plan to do that from their home countries, or do we say perhaps it's better to fly them in here and get prepared here and all go in one go to the circuit? And
Have
you sounds a bit a better plan to me.
Yeah, have you done an analysis on that?
Yeah, we are still thinking a bit, obviously, because we just waiting the calendar. But I mean, obviously that seems like a better plan to first make sure we have everybody here.
Yeah, so you can spread it over a longer period of time and then have everyone from here ready to go. And
and it looks like perhaps the safer bet at the moment is within Europe to go somewhere by car or whatever, isn't it? And at least perhaps it's a bit safer as well. Otherwise, you need to fly
and then you don't know who you come in contact with. And
exactly.
The world outside of motorsport is also changing, so it's very difficult to get a hold of that. Especially if you can do it continental Europe, then I would think very basically just put everything in a truck and just start driving towards the circuit.
Yeah.
But as soon as it gets to circuits outside of Europe, then it's a big question mark.
Yeah, then it's to be honest, I mean, like within Europe, like you say, that's how it always went. Of course, with our equipment and cars, we put it in a trailer and drive to the circuit. Outside Europe, okay, then Formula One management. They have a sort of cargo part of FOM, which arranges all our travel.
So let's say
cargo travel outside Europe. So, so we just need to bring it where they tell us to bring it.
Okay.
They pick it up and then it's out of your hands until you arrive at the circuit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
that's nice.
That's good for us. So that's not a big headache. We just need to do what they tell us to do. But of course, our biggest thing is the people. That's our job as a team, and that's what we need to organize.
Because recently Spa came out and said, all right, we've discussed with the government, we can race, but behind closed doors. But also we looked at how many people that would be the maximum that would be there, and they calculated it at around 1,000. Is that a calculation you have also made by this point? Like, what is the pure minimum that we can run with an entire racing weekend?
Yeah, it depends a bit on which category, obviously. The good thing is most categories, they already have a limited, let's say a staff limitation, just also to keep the budgets a bit acceptable, because if you just leave that open, then some people perhaps show up with 100 people and other teams show up with 10 people, and it's not really a level playing field.
No, of course.
So for example, in Formula 3, where you have 3 cars, then the staff limitation is 10. So that's quite easy then to calculate. Okay, you can bring those 10 people, that's it. Probably for F1 it's a different thing, and I guess it's a lot of work for them to figure that out, what is doable, yes and no. And of course for a category like Formula Renault, it's perhaps a bit more easy because you don't have all the teams over there. You have 3 cars, 9 people is staff limitation. But you don't have the big outfits like all the F1 teams are.
No.
But that's 9 people plus the drivers, or that 9 people
that's 9
including
people plus the drivers.
Okay. So it's
3 people per car.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So
I guess Formula One is less regulated on that part, how many people you can bring, and then because of budget, it's easier to say, all right, just take this many people. Not because of safety, but just because otherwise the budgets would rise out of.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think for them that's it's also quite a task to manage all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know?
Talking about managing staff and stuff, is that also one of your tasks? So you manage the staff, and if there's any problems, does that come to you, or is there someone in between you and the staff?
It depends a bit what the issue is, I would say. But normally, all our teams, they operate themselves. So we have a dedicated team for Renault, dedicated team for F4, F2, F3, and the main thing they solve as a team. They sit down, decide what kind of jobs need to be done. That will be amongst the mechanics and engineers, etc. And then for example in our F2, F3 team, we have then a team manager, Jeremy, who is in charge overseeing that.
So he's actually the person between you and then the team itself. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, also to make sure that everything is well organized on each and every team, for example. Yeah.
And so, what could be one of the more funny or weird problems that have ever come to you during your career?
The best parts are obviously all the good results, the wins, etc. The joy with the team, etc. That are obviously for each and every team are the best moments, and also the drive why everybody is working in racing, isn't it? The worst parts, it's difficult. Let's say, obviously, like in each and every sport, you have quite some highs, but also quite some lows, isn't it? It's always
a serious crash, for example, where you lose a car or something. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. To be honest, the good thing normally that's quite often that's insured, so it's just it's a lot of work. Yeah. But I mean, you always then your first priority is everybody safe, isn't it? Are the drivers safe? Are the mechanics and engineers, everybody's safe? I mean, that's the most important thing, isn't it?
Okay. I never actually thought about it. When you lose a car, it's actually insured. I thought that's a lot of money gone now. But indeed. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's insured, you always take a hit, I would say. Obviously. But it's more like it's a lot of work. It's
it's a hassle.
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously nobody's happy if there's a crash. That's clear.
It's not something we want to see. Yeah. I mean, it looks spectacular, obviously, and everybody's like, "Whoa, I'm looking forward for races in the rain because there's always some spectacle." But at the other side, there's safety and obviously the cost for the teams if anything bad happens. Because if you look at what would it be Germany last year, how many cars would have gone off track? What would that cost? I mean, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But then, obviously Germany was one of the better races. But if you then think back, if somebody hits a wall at, 200 kilometers an hour, it's like, maybe that's not too safe.
To be honest, I think in that race there were some people went off, but not a...
not a serious...
Exactly. There was a corner off here, corner off there.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was a lot of slipping and sliding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they lost a lot of speed just because they were sliding.
And then it's
it's a sideways hit to the wall and you slow down.
Exactly.
Front wing gone.
For that we are quite used to. Just a corner off. That's like whatever. But if you lose a complete chassis or an engine, then it started to get a bit more serious. And rather not.
What's your favorite part of a race weekend? Is it the race itself? Is it coming home after a busy weekend? Is it the building up to the weekend?
Hopefully the podium ceremony.
But,
but that's not a given thing, isn't it? But difficult. I mean, it's quite a difficult one actually. Going home. Normally, it's for everybody's nice as well, but it depends also a bit on what kind of result you had. Is it?
Exactly.
A disaster of a weekend and everybody's grumpy, and then going home is not the best part of the weekend. And, that depends a lot actually, where we are at, etc. But I'm pretty sure if we now go to the first race weekend, I think everybody's really happy to go racing. Probably the best part of that weekend will be to go to the circuit and to build up the owning again, etc.
Can you already feel like the tingling in your bones, like we're gonna begin racing sometime soon, or is it still like it's still not sure? Or
No, a bit the last part actually. It's still a bit not certain yet when it's possible, etc. So yeah, and to be honest, last week we had the first test with our F4 team again.
Oh, cool.
Which was really nice weather, sunny, blah blah blah, and that was quite nice to be on track again and to do something again.
Oh,
actually.
cool.
Yeah, but
to not be stuck here inside the workplace and just go out again.
Absolutely, yeah. And the funny part is you see, for example, mechanics, engineers, everybody's like, it would be nice to go racing again, because basically we are not made for an office job.
Yeah,
and that's what everybody experiences.
Obviously, otherwise you don't start this job.
Absolutely, but sometimes at the end of a season, people are tired of traveling. Long season, a lot of traveling, long days, and then everybody's like, I'm happy the season is over.
Yeah.
Now everybody everybody realizes like, okay, it was nice to have a bit extra off time, but also we are not made for a 9 to 5 office job. So can we please go racing again?
Exactly.
So I think that's perhaps one of the positives from this times. It's perhaps the it's not the best way to discover that, but at least it's good to realize like this is
it reignites
not a bad job actually.
Yeah, it reignites a passion to really start racing.
I think
again.
so. Yeah, and especially now because I mean over the years the winter period became shorter. I mean some years ago we stopped in in October, and then we start testing in March or something like that. The long winter period, and now. Yeah, sometimes now you get the cars back, or you are back home mid-December. Then you do some more testing. You stop your season just before Christmas, and then you have 5, 6, 7 weeks in the workshop to do the whole winter prep. And out again. So there's not really a lot of time to.
There's no downtime actually.
No,
anymore.
Exactly. So and now we had quite a bit.
Yeah, and then the passion for like I want to go really starts again.
It's an itch you can't scratch right now.
Yeah.
So
and it only gets worse.
It only gets worse.
But on the other hand, I mean, now it's like, this is not too bad, and perhaps it would be a good idea to do this each and every year, to start in July and perfect. But on the other hand, now you see some draft calendars coming in, and you think like, okay, but so basically from July the 1st till December, we are on the road now.
Non-stop,
we will be punished for this downtime. But okay.
I think that's not only motorsport related. I think a lot of companies who had this amount of downtime are like, but then the world restarts.
Exactly.
And we need to restart as well.
Yeah.
So.
And it's going to be pumping out everything you can to get back on track. And
absolutely.
To get a new sense of normal, like I say every time. But it's true. You need to just get
catch
back
up,
into what you were doing before. Is there a class of racing that you enjoy the most? Is it F4, F3, F2, Formula Renault? Is there something you would say? Right, if I really had to choose, I only have to. Like tomorrow, MP Motorsport decides, all right, we can only focus on one. Which one would it be?
That's a difficult one.
I know, but
no, the fun part is actually perhaps the biggest difference among those categories is that if we get a driver in Formula 4, then it's a driver which is really young, perhaps 14, 15, 16 years old, without much experience. So the whole team starts with a driver like that, really on a beginner's level. But then, for example, if the week after you come to an F2 race, then you have an experienced driver which is much more mature, knows what he or she wants. So the way, even if you see it from the outside, if you would compare that, the way of working with that driver, it's quite a bit different in that sense that it's the driver itself that, or really young. I mean, if you're 15 years old, then your whole experience in life is much less than if you're 20 something, isn't it? So I think that's probably the biggest difference. And then of course in F2 things are on a lot of side things. It's bigger, more professional. You're in F1 environment, etc. So it's just a lot of things are much different compared to an F4
things off track start to matter more than what it is in F3 and F4.
Absolutely.
Your presence is important.
If you're in an F2 race, then you get in your itinerary for the weekend a lot of media things as well, media activities, etc., driver parade, and if you're in F4, then you are quite a bit under the radar, isn't it? There are a lot less media activities, and you can still fool a bit around on the paddock, etc., and you have a bit more freedom, and you're under the radar.
Is that something that you have noticed? Because I noticed that at least Formula 1 is starting to put more emphasis on Formula 2 and Formula 3, especially towards normal people who might not really follow that. Is that something you've noticed as well, and communication and the way things are going now inside the paddock?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's and to be honest, that was their choice as well to include F2 and F3 much more in the whole package. Perhaps a bit like MotoGP, where the whole Moto3, Moto2, etc., which is much more integrated in the whole package. I think that's a bit the way we went as well in our situation with F2, F3 as well, isn't it? Yeah.
So continuing on the stuff in the paddock, did you see the Drive to Survive on Netflix?
Not fully,
documentary?
I have to admit.
Okay.
Not fully, no.
But a question we've asked the drivers as well is the feeling that is portrayed there of the ambience or the feeling of the paddock. Does that kind of reflect how it is in real life, or is it very much dramatized?
I guess perhaps some episodes, perhaps they are a bit dramatized in that sense. But also, if you are just focusing on one thing for a couple of weekends, you can make a bit.
You can make a story out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And perhaps you don't see the full picture, isn't it? If you start cutting some things, etc. Actually, with F2, they made a sort of same thing, chasing the dream, which I think that was quite realistic. Even there as well, they just follow a specific driver also for a couple things, so they really focus on one specific thing and not the real bigger picture of what happens on the full paddock, isn't it? So it's always a small piece of a puzzle basically where they are zooming in on, but I think they did quite a good job on that, I have to say. I guess also for fans, etc., or people that are interested, I think it's quite nice to see those kind of things. What happened a bit.
It's a little bit of view into the life of a driver or someone on the paddock and what is going on behind the scenes when you see these drivers on track and you see them in interviews, but that's only such a small part of what they actually all do, and that's what you see here as well. I mean, the amount of work and time that is going on behind the scenes that we don't see is enormous, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I think a lot of people at home, they after the last race in December, and then immediately can't wait till the new season, and then finally in March finally the new season starts. But people in F1, F2, F3, they're like, it was a real busy winter, a big push to get everything organized, and it was not really that we are well rested because we had 3 months off in the winter period. No,
you're still working and
still full push in the workshop basically.
For the drivers, is that the same? Do they get some downtime, or is it just winter training, winter working all the time?
Quite some winter working as well. I guess, let's say the period, if you just come back from post-season testing Abu Dhabi, which is normally begin half December. Basically, I think for most of those drivers, they have 4, 5, 6 weeks off. And then they need to start again, isn't it? Training, perhaps finalizing plans for the new season, or discussing with sponsors, whatever. And then if you signed up for a team, then also meetings start at the workshop to prepare for the first pre-season test and the season. So they have a bit downtime, I would say, but still life continues. And quite a lot of them, especially in perhaps lower categories, they need to go to school as well.
Yeah.
It's not only racing, there's a life besides racing for a lot of them, training, simulator stuff, school, and especially, for example, in F4 or Formula Renault, perhaps the school exams, etc. So so that's that also still continues, isn't it?
That's also something that's been currently set on hold for a lot of them. So I can imagine that if everything just switches back on, it's a lot at the same time, and it's school. Well, if you start in the summer months, maybe not, but it would be. It's just everything comes back on, and it's like, oh wow, I've been just simulating for a couple of months, and everything was on the down low. But right now, and racing and training back in the car itself and racing itself, I think.
And going to school.
And going to school and combining all of that.
Yeah, I think perhaps the good thing is for we have I think 2 guys that were in their final year of school. They had some exams which were in May. For them, the good thing a lot of them could be via computer or whatever. So they're, I think at the moment they're finalizing that. So the good thing is they can fully focus on that because there's no racing. But on the other hand, especially in categories like, for example, Formula 4, if they now postpone all the races towards August, September, October, etc., you get a big push in those months, and then basically now you haven't been to school for months, then you have a summer break, and after the summer break then the racing season starts, but like fully starts. Then it might bite each other a bit, isn't it? That you can't go to school while you had quite something to catch up over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it does something. This global pandemic is kind of changing the world right now, and it's really weird. But let's hope we can start racing again soon.
Absolutely, that would be nice.
That's a big hope.
Like you said, we are one of those people at home who are like, yes, we can't wait for this to start again, because this is what we talk about every 2 weeks.
Just this week when the news of Spa was on television, they like showed some footage from last year's race. I'm like, I haven't seen this in months.
Exactly.
But it's something you, as a fan, you live towards. It's like, all right, this weekend there's a race, and I'm gonna start watching free practice, and now there's none of that. And in earnest, they do their best with the virtual races, like all classes.
That's
Formula
very nice,
E, Formula 1, and I think even Formula 3 or 2 joined in with a couple of virtual races. But it's not the same.
It's definitely not the same now.
I appreciate the effort, and I like some of the racing that I'm seeing, but it's not quite the same. The atmosphere is not the same. And if you look at and I mean here in the Netherlands it's Ziggo, Belgium it's Telenet, we watch through F1 TV. You get a lot more of that experience through a tiny screen. And you don't get the same with virtual races.
True. When we were downstairs when they were starting the motor, it was this is what I'm missing right now.
Exactly. They were cleaning the Dakar cars earlier, and it's like, oh, wow. Those are some noises I haven't heard in a while.
It is nice, isn't it? And I think, but I guess everybody would be really happy to go back on track, isn't it? And also, I think also, yes, everybody realized like life is not fully about racing, but I mean, it's a serious thing, and racing is not priority number 1 in the world. But I guess if we can start racing again, it means the whole world is in a much better state as well. So I think, also on that side it would be good, isn't it?
No, and I think that's why the decision to at least do the early races behind closed doors is something that I can definitely live with. Because if I can see it, if I can see racing happening, it'll be weird that there's not a lot of people, if any, you can see on camera, but at least we have racing. At least there's something going on.
There's a tension again of, there's a new season. Are there new possibilities? Is it going to be the same as the previous one? Will there be more fights? Which team is going to be best of the rest, quote unquote? Will any of those teams start making challenges to the bigger teams, and then all that stuff is very, very interesting. And I suppose it's, I don't know how it goes in the lower formulas, like the younger teams, the younger drivers. Do they feel this too? Like, do I have a chance to fight with maybe someone who has 2 years more experience than me? How do they do this? I don't know.
of course they are all keen to start and to move ahead with the season, isn't it? I mean, and depends all. Yeah, it of course depends a bit where you're at in your career. But for example, the youngsters in F4, they are so keen on getting their single-seater career started, while perhaps somebody in F2, which is in, I don't know, in the third season in the category, wants to try to fight for the win, isn't it? Exactly. So everybody's somewhere else, but everybody has their own agenda, basically. Yeah.
Is it difficult managing those two types in the same team? As in, you have one very experienced driver who is maybe challenging for the win, and a new rookie who maybe possibly is trying to fight for points or trying to just get used to the car. Is it difficult to, like, the person that is then less experienced to manage it with the one who is more experienced, who then probably will end always in front of the other one?
Yeah, not really. Okay. I think all the drivers know from themselves where they're at in their career, isn't it? And obviously they speak a lot with the engineers, etc. So everybody has their own objectives, and sometimes it's also quite nice to brainstorm a bit with the driver, like, okay, what are your objectives for the season, etc. So no, that's not too difficult. Also, basically, the engineers we have are all very experienced, and sometimes you work with a driver that is a rookie in the category. Sometimes you win with a driver that can fight for a win in that category. So probably all of them seen all the different scenarios, isn't it? So you know more or less what to expect and how you can support your driver the best way.
And one more question just around this. If you have two drivers that are approximately the same in experience and skill, how do you manage that they don't, for example, come together, as we've seen with Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen do? Like, do you experience this in the lower formulas, or is this less?
We experienced it sometimes before, not too many times, luckily. But of course it can happen. I mean, for example, in Formula 4 we run 5-6 cars. Then sometimes they meet each other on track, which can happen.
How do you deal with this?
It's quite difficult because you cannot write a scenario on this. I mean, and of course the drivers, they all know, like, oh, don't hit your teammate. But that's quite easily said. And sometimes it's a mess with, I don't know, 4 or 5 cars, and then you come together with your teammate, which was not done on purpose, isn't it?
Exactly.
So that can be one of those scenarios, or you don't understand each other right in the race, and not on purpose, but you hit each other. Okay. But then, it's difficult to write a scenario on forehand. But on the other side, then normally we have a chat, obviously, after the race. And in the beginning, perhaps they are a bit heated.
Logically.
Not fully happy or discussion, but then it's a matter of let's sit down and discuss it, isn't it? And, perhaps somebody has to apologize, whatever, but it can happen, isn't it? But normally that's never done on purpose. So, so there's always a way out of there.
That would be crazy if one driver would hit another one on purpose. Then you just have to stop racing. There's no way that if you don't trust anyone, the other person on track, then you can't race with them ever again, I suppose.
But I mean, a driver understands. I guess one of the first rules is don't hit your teammate, because the whole I think it's embarrassing for the whole team in that sense, isn't it? So
obviously,
but it can always happen even in F1, isn't it? And then if that happens, those drivers, they feel embarrassed, isn't it? And then you need to come back to your guys, to the team, like, I'm sorry, and that's not really what you want as a driver as well, isn't it? So
For the younger drivers, are you more of a father figure for them or a friend? Because I can imagine you spend a lot of time with them, and they don't have a typical teenage years like maybe we did. They're traveling, they're doing something not a lot of people do. Are you more of a father for them, or?
None. I don't know. We need to ask them, I think. But I think normally what you see is those kids. They were professionals in karting, and since they were, I don't know, 4 years of age or 5, 6, whatever, they've been traveling all around the world.
They have a certain mindset already when they come in.
Absolutely, and don't be shocked if you see, I don't know, a 15-year-old kid that takes a plane from home to some circuit where we have a test, travels by himself sometimes. but they are used to that. They are used to travel, and quite often their parents will join them.
Yeah. Do they join on track as well then, or
quite often yes?
Yeah,
And let's say in F category like F4 Renault, quite often yes. But sometimes, not always. Sometimes we can pick up a driver at the airport. He joins the team, and but what you see is drivers that have been in top sport from an age so young. Yeah, they're on a bit different mindset than some.
Yeah, than
us. Normal.
Normal. Yeah, than us.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if it's a bit a different youth than their classmates, isn't it?
I suppose that's also necessary. Otherwise, if you don't have the mindset of like, I need to do this and I have to do this, this, and this in order to make it, you need to have that mindset, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you see, they are much more mature. On that side, but on the other hand, sometimes they walk out the pit box and they go play football, and then you look at them like, okay, they're still kids.
They're still kids, yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, for sure, I think if you are, let's say, participating in whatever kind of sport on a high level, I think you will mature on different way than perhaps the average kid.
Like
that. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Do parents actually have a say in things, or is that like they are on the background, they're the supporting, or do they actually, like, you don't have to say names or anything?
No,
because I see you, but yeah, it's something I wonder, because I've been to Spa and saw like Formula 4, like the French regionals, and you could tell which people were the parents, because the way they acted. And that's why I wonder, are they just supporting, and do they leave all those tasks to you or the management of the team itself?
I think it differs a lot, but it's the same, like, I don't know, in football, perhaps you see some parents shouting next to the football field, like, and some people are quiet. But that's the same here. I mean, everybody's a bit different, and some parents, for example, they were perhaps the mechanic of the driver when he or she was in karting. Yeah. And then it's quite difficult to let loose in the beginning, or then you are approaching it differently than perhaps if a parent didn't do mechanicking for their kids in karting. So it differs a lot, and plus also the fact that quite often when a driver comes to Formula 4, let's say if he or she is 15 or 16, also they reach an age where they become, let's say, instead of a kid, they become, for example,
a person, really,
more mature, isn't it? And they want to let loose a bit towards their parents as well.
They want some freedom, be like, I know what I'm doing,
exactly.
let me do my thing.
Exactly. So quite often, but for example, in an engineering briefing, on that there are no parents included. That's driver plus engineer only. But
they get no say at all in that. Well, which I
the
agree
driver
with,
briefing.
No, exactly. But I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, if we're in a restaurant and or we drink. We have a drink, and then a parent has a question about something. Yeah, of course, ask it. They want to know a bit, like how things are going, and they are fully updated on those kind of things, obviously.
And of course, if your parents are not behind you, and you're getting to Formula 4, then I suppose you're not getting there if your parents are not behind you.
No, exactly. And of course, the parents are proud of the kids, and they want to be as much as possible on the races, which is not always possible because they have their jobs or work, etc.
Just money-wise alone, buying tickets every weekend, it's expensive.
So it differs a lot, but I mean, like I said, they are mature, they're in a good environment, so sometimes they travel with us, or we collect them at the airport, whatever. So normally that works really well.
Okay.
Maybe to close out, Macau last year, obviously one of the highest points, I presume.
Talking about podium finish.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Finish.
Yeah, I think the good part of Macau was that we had, as a team, we never participated in that race. All our drivers never went to Macau before. Yeah. So for sure the moment we traveled to Macau, we were not seeing ourselves as a favorite, basically.
That's what Daniel said as well, right?
Not even as the underdog or whatever. I mean, we were just like, okay,
let's try it out and we'll see.
Absolutely, new experience, quite exciting because obviously it's a big race. But we went there just like going to a normal race and let's see. So then the outcome was fantastic, of course.
Were you there at Macau or?
No, myself I wasn't there. Because I mean we have so many races going on. But obviously I followed each and every session, which was a bit of pain because it was always deep in the night, etc. We were in another meeting in another race meeting, so it was really
somewhere on a phone days. There, the race in the corner.
Absolutely, in the hotel room, laptops, phones, app groups, etc. So so it was not ideal. But no, it was really good, and obviously also for Richard, it meant a big push for him as well. That
must have been very, very motivating. Just going there, thinking like, all right, we're gonna try it out, and then at the end of the day, winning one of the most prestigious Formula 3 races. I think.
Absolutely. So for him it was a massive push for his career as well, isn't it?
Exactly. I remember waking up, I think it was on a Sunday for the second race. Just like screaming at my dad.
Like, oh my god!
Like,
the restart of the safety car was.
It's like,
it was. He did an amazing overtake, isn't it? Like also without DRS, but it was so committed, isn't it?
The track is insane.
Nobody saw it coming actually. Even the driver who was I don't know who it was that he overtook.
Phipps.
I don't think he saw it coming at all. Like
no, I think so.
He left some space and was like, okay, sure, I'm gonna turn in, and Richard was there and was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. He did. It was a fantastic move and so committed. So and he really went for it. And
exactly.
I think people appreciate that, isn't it? If they
it
see
was
something
so nice.
that, like proper racing and like a driver that really wants to.
Didn't he have also a problem with his steering at that point, or there was something wrong with the car at that point as well?
I think we just kissed the wall a bit, so the steering was a bit off. But that's all. I mean, that's street racing, isn't it? So,
obviously.
It's part of the job, and of course he was pushing, and
Drivers really learn to deal with this as a little offset or something on their.
No, you just need to manage it.
Just manage it.
But I guess if you're in Macau, you're leading the main race. And
you don't care anymore.
Then you're just so full of adrenaline.
Exactly.
I don't really care.
Not the biggest problem anymore. So I'm pretty sure you won't give up at that stage.
No. The driver behind you is the biggest problem at that point.
True. But,
keeping him behind you.
But also on that side, I think Richard did a brilliant job.
Amazing.
In the end, he was never under threat. Of course, the pressure was there, but there was never a real
chance to lose the place. In fact,
exactly.
It's very well managed.
So normally you would go back this year then to Macau. Or?
I hope so. I hope so. Of course.
With
it's
everything,
all difficult to say at the moment, but obviously we love now to defend
the title with Richard. If the chance is there,
So now, okay. Now the objective, if we go to Macau, is a bit different than last year, obviously.
Now that you've proven what you can do there.
It would be nice to at least defend this, isn't it? But still, then I mean, it's a special race, isn't it? It's like okay, you need to be fast, but you need to be lucky as well. You need
careful.
To be, exactly.
It really is the Monaco of Asia. I think even the track itself is very Monaco-esque, very tight streets, tight corners.
I think even it's even a bit more tricky than Monaco actually.
It's a very nice track to watch actually. I wouldn't know how to drive it at all. Like
I don't think you can. Could you drive it in a video game? I don't know. Is there
I'm not sure.
There's probably mods for some game.
Possibly in our Factor there will be.
I think if in one of the next episodes, whenever Richard is here, I think that would be a nice question to him because. After the first free practice, when I spoke with him, he said, "Like, man, this is surreal, basically, because things are flashing around you." And the first time he got out of his car, he was sort of sick, actually.
Because
dizzy,
of how fast it all.
Wow.
Is that something that you do? That if you're not there, that you call him and ask like, how did it go, or did he call you? I don't know.
Yeah, we always with all the drivers
like
on WhatsApp or call, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you're always in contact with each other, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just
that's
to ask
very nice.
how things are going, and of course all the team apps, group, driver app group, whatever. Yeah. So it's it's all over the shop. Yeah.
Okay.
But you try to keep on top of everything at all times. But that's kind of the job.
Not on everything, but like the overall stuff. I mean, for example, I think we have really good people that exactly know what to do, and I don't need to tell a mechanic what he needs to do or tell an engineer what he needs to do. But as a group, they sit together, make their plans, and then on the headlines, then of course you are interested in what's going on, what is happening.
The bigger picture, in fact, and
absolutely.
That's for you.
I'm not getting involved when they need to, what kind of tire pressure, whatever. That's not my job.
No, exactly.
But I mean, so that's.
But you need to make sure that the tires get there.
Not even that actually. No, but it's,
not even.
No. But I mean, the good thing is.
That's Jennifer, right?
No, not even. No, but I mean.
Not even.
Let's say this, but I think. Let's say how the team is run. I mean, those people, I think we are lucky that we have a real stable team with people that are with us for so many years. Yeah. So they know their job, and they're doing a good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's maybe also good. You said it's a very stable team. Like the mechanics are very experienced. They're with the team for a long time. What happens when you have a new mechanic? Is this training? Do they immediately get to work on a car, or do they?
It depends a bit. About the change, who he's replacing, etc. But normally if in a group, let's say if you have a group of 15 people and there's one person being replaced, then quite often it's quite easy to get bedded into a group. Quite often that goes automatically. And for example, if that change took place in the winter, then you have quite some weeks to get bedded in that team, basically.
Yeah. And does the feeling in a team very much dictate if a person can stay or not? If he doesn't get along in the team, does that impact his chances at staying, or has it never been a problem?
No, never been a real problem, to be honest. I mean, quite often it's a bit like, let's say the team atmosphere and the way of working, it's the same if we are from F4 to F2.
Yeah.
And if you are new, basically you get sort of absorbed into that system.
Yeah, you need to start rolling into it.
You never really see that somebody says, "Oh, this is I don't like this," and
I do it
another way. No, it's a team sport, isn't it? So everybody needs to commit to that structure and the way of working, basically.
All right.
Well, on that note, I think we can end it there.
Yes.
Right about an hour, so I think we've had quite a conversation already.
So,
perfect.
I'd like to thank you for your time, at least.
Thank you.
It was very fun to have you on.
And thank you for this opportunity as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
the insight of a team principal is I think different than a driver.
Yeah.
You experience things another way, I suppose. Maybe from a more overview position.
Almost,
yeah. Because
No, all right.
Perfect. Yeah.
On that note,
thank you.
Time.
Till the next episode, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.